Yeah, Kyle's a really genuine person. Once he said something to me that really stuck out in my mind. He told me that if I was ever like up at 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning and like something was wrong or I couldn't go to sleep or something, that he would love if I called him. And so that kind of to me epitomizes the type of friend he is and how he was just like so willing to always be there for me. And then we both ended up coming to NC State and we just became even closer as friends in college, I would say.
I was thrilled to be at NC State. I was excited about everything, that all the opportunities that were there. Like, you can do anything, you can be anything and do anything you want. We've got 500 different organizations. And then there wasn't any singular thing that happened, as time went on, as far as changes. It really happened gradually, I guess, over the course of years. Things weren't like that anymore. That's sort of that enthusiasm for things that sort of just evaporated.
It was tough because I was trying to, navigate my own life and take care of all the things going on in my life. But I was worried about him and I didn't want him to fall by the wayside and something bad to happen to him or him to, hurt himself in any way.
One of the most impactful moments I've had here, remember I was in class when it happened. Someone called me. So I stepped outside to answer the call and this friend of mine, she was crying. And I was like, what in the world is going on?
I remember that very well, the suicide itself. And I remember calling Kyle because I was, for some reason, just really worried about him and I wanted to make sure it wasn't him and that he was okay. And he didn't pick up and I remember kind of panicking and just trying to tell myself that it wasn't him, it wasn't him.
But that really hit home, the fact that my friends found out that a student took his own life and one of their first thoughts was, oh my God, what if that was Kyle? That I had sort of reached that point, I guess. They had a vigil for him the next night. I don't remember a whole lot about what was said during it, but I remember standing next to Devram the whole time. We lit each other's candles and just stood there and listened.
I just remember we got to a certain point and my emotions just overcame me and I just kind of broke down in tears and he turned around and hugged me and when we were hugging each other, I told him I don't know what I would do if he did anything to himself like that. If I didn't have him as a friend, I'm not sure how I could keep going myself.
I'll never forget, he told me, it's you have to promise me you'll never do that. It's you have to promise me that you'll stay, that you won't leave. And I remember, promising to him that I would.
But he did definitely have a problem with drinking and we didn't really know what to do.
There was all these whole different experiences, the ways of just feeling just in your normal life that I didn't know you could have. But I found the more I did it, the less satisfied I became with just being me normally.
And that was hard for me as a friend to know that he was going through that.
I felt like I was sort of, grasping sand and, I was trying to hold everything real tight and it just everything was just falling apart. It was the harder I tried to just, fix it and make things work, the worse it got. I had difficulty really being around people in my normal state of mind because I could hardly stand to be around me. I had this really powerful sense of despair. Not just general unhappiness, but this whole this feeling that everything is wrong with you and that there's nothing that can fix it.
I guess all of these things were starting to show themselves more and more to me. I wasn't really sure of the extent of them until closer to that incident.
I think Devram texted me what's going on this weekend? I'm like, not much. Probably just gonna drink myself into a coma.
I was so, I guess, worried that something would happen, if we didn't speak out and forcefully like tell him how we were feeling and that he should stop his behavior and whatnot. Our friend Adam was telling me like, no, that's absolutely not how we should go about this. It's better to, approach it from a more emotional side and not come down on him. And I'm glad that he kind of oriented me in that regard. We were just like, Kyle, talk to us. Like, what's going on? How can we help? And we were kind of appealing to him. We wanted him to know that we were there for him.
They came over, and that was enough. It calmed me down. I felt more relaxed. I put the drink away. I felt like then I knew I had, these people who really cared, but eventually they had to go. And I think there was part of me that was afraid to be alone. But I didn't say anything. And I don't really know why.
There are a couple of things I do regret about that situation. I regret that we didn't stay with him. We should have, put the alcohol away somewhere else or taken it from him and sat there with him throughout the night. And then we left, and I just don't think we should have. I think we should have stayed with him in that moment.
I've wondered how things would have been different if I'd asked them to stay. But, I'll never know now. And I don't know if there was any guilt on his part that he left that night. There was no way to know, right? What might happen. So I hope he didn't feel any guilt about it, because I know how much he cared. I know how much he still cares.
With everything we've gone through, I feel like I won't hesitate as much before taking action if I sense that something is wrong with a friend of mine. And I think that after what we had been through together, we kind of wanted to share it with others. And I think that us all joining the MHAs was like a really good step in that direction. I want people to know, don't be afraid to talk to your friends about these things. Even if you don't know necessarily all that's going on, be willing to reach out and be a true friend to someone.
I hope people can see that in a lot of ways I'm just like them. I'm not so different. My story may look different. Some of the details might differ, but we're all still just like trying to figure it out together.
You can actually help a person get help. You can walk with them to the counseling center. You can help them make an appointment. You can use all the resources at your disposal. There are people out there who have been through the same things, and I think that you can draw strength from that, knowing that you are not the only one.
As much as it can seem hard to believe, you're never alone. People might be wondering, where's my rescue brigade? I promise those people are there. They exist, but it's hard to talk about.
A lot of these things we don't really talk about, on a daily basis, or these things don't come up in our lives as much. But they were really important. They were really significant to our lives, and I think we should talk about them more.
Just because, the way things are now, that doesn't mean that's the way they're always going to be. It's really hard to see that when you're in it. You imagine that this is what your whole life is going to be like. But you do get better, and you learn to embrace all of it. Not just the fun, the happy times, the laughs, but you learn to embrace the bad stuff too. my memory of that last night, that February night in my apartment is a little hazy. So I don't remember everything that happened or what I thought or said, but I like to think that was part of it. I think it was that what kept me from doing something I couldn't take back was that somewhere in my mind I remembered that I made you that promise.